In today's video, we're going to talk about how our Amazon seller account was suspended. But before we do that, let's get started on what sold for the week of June 9th through 15th. Ready?
Sure.
All right. The first thing that sold was a Badgley Mishka Bell women's fit and flare daisy print sleeveless dress. We found this in the Goodwill bins for 92 cents. It took forever to sell. I don't think I would pick up this brand again, but we did sell it for $25 on eBay. Next up was a Temptations by Terra Old World. It was an enamel on steel floral multi-pot. It looked like a pitcher, but I guess you could use it for all kinds of different things. I thought it was interesting, so I picked it up at a garage sale. We paid $5. It only sold for $25, so it did not make a lot of profit, and I would not pick it up again. All right, next up was a brand new sealed DVD of the movie Shag, the movie. This was, like I said, new and sealed, and it was gifted to us, so we had no cost. It sold very fast for $13 even. I took a little bit of a low offer on it because our sales were kind of bad this particular week, and I was taking any reasonable offer that people were sending me, so probably could have gotten a little bit more on this one. Next up was one of the infinity scarves. We picked up a whole bunch of these in multiple different colors. We did a single listing. So this was a multi-quantity listing. So even though we didn't make a lot of profit on this individual item, this was like a really easy list. Anytime we have a multi-quantity listing, we love items like that because it's, you just list it, it's like a single picture and then multiple items. So this is an example of that. We found these in the Goodwill bins. We paid just 67 cents for each of them, and this was one of the red ones. This sold for $8.94. We did make almost $1.50 profit on that. Next up was an OEM Samsung DVD black remote control. We tested it and it worked. And we got that at the thrift store out of a bag of remotes. We paid 34 cents for it, and it sold for $9.58. Next up was a 4-piece lot of genuine Mattel Barbie. This was all kinds of different pet stuff. I think it all came from the Barbie Loves Pets set. And we got this from the Goodwill bins. We paid...
Pets.
You do? You love your pet, I know that.
Other people's pets. Probably, but
yeah.
My pet, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We paid $1.03 for that, and it sold for $10.38. Next up was our best sale of the week. This was a Disney Jim Henson Muppet Vision 3D Statler and Waldorf. These are the theater heckler dolls. Is that what they sound like?
Sort of, yeah.
Or are you not okay?
No, they kind of do that from the balcony.
And these were plush dolls. One of them was new with tags, and one of them was used. So I did list them as used.
But it seemed new. It just didn't have the tags.
Yeah. We found these at a garage sale for just 50 cents, and they sold for $135.
We got a whole box of plush with puppets, and there's a Kermit the Frog we got that we sold. Well, there's a bunch of stuff we all got in one bin for $5.
Yeah.
So
and you want to be on the lookout for these these Jim Henson Muppet Vision 3D dolls, because there are a couple other ones that sell for even more than these. There's 4 dolls you want to be on the lookout for. The 2 that we just sold, Statler and Waldorf, and then there's 2 that actually sell for higher than these. Sam Eagle and one called Bean Bunny, which is a character I'm not familiar with.
It's probably because these were lesser characters and they didn't make as many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those sold for like $300-ish or more.
Wow.
So definitely be on the lookout for those. And any of them will sell, though. And the other ones sold for like in the $30, $35 up to like $50 range. And our Kermit one sold also for around $30. That'll be in a later What Sold video. So that's definitely a collection you want to be on the lookout for. Next up was a 1995 Donruss Round Trippers Tim Salmon card. This was Kevin's, and it sold for $3.99.
Do you know what a round tripper is?
No.
It's a home run.
Oh, because you go on,
Yeah, it's a round tripper.
A round trip. Oh, that makes sense.
Round tripper, yeah.
That makes sense.
I didn't figure she knew that.
No. Wait, why didn't you figure I knew that?
You don't know baseball.
Because I don't know things? Is that what you're saying?
Because you don't know sports.
Uh-huh.
You don't know anything about touchdowns and hockey.
Yeah, no, he's right. I don't.
Goals and
No, I was just trying to call him out.
I'm quite the sports expert.
Yeah, like you are.
I do know baseball very well.
He does.
I know the rules.
All right, next up was a lot of 2 vintage French posters. Like, these were not like vintage. These were like vintage from the 80s.
Yeah.
So
like
they were
Bed Bath &
vintage
Beyond.
reproductions.
Yeah.
And these were from the custom frame shop that we own. These were from that storage unit that we had told you guys about in previous videos. So we had no cost on these. They sold for $30 even. Next up was a vintage 2001 Harley Davidson adult large Pirate Treasure Coast, Florida t-shirt. This came out of a Goodwill blue box of Y2K items. It was listed as it was listed as the women's box of women's fashions from Y2K. And of course, this was a men's shirt. It sold and we got decent money for it. But, you know, I just feel like Goodwill
the cost
blue
of
box
good was really high on it.
They're fun to get sometimes, but you do not always get what they promise. So we had paid $4.20 per item out of this blue box.
Which we would never have paid for that shirt.
Maybe not.
$4?
Yeah,
No,
$4.20 is a lot. This sold on Poshmark for $11. Again, I've mentioned in the past that on our Poshmark sales, there is a plus shipping for the buyer. So the buyer did pay shipping on it. And I did accept kind of a low offer on this as well because we were like not getting sales this week and I was just taking any offers that we could get. So I was happy to have the sale, but normally I would have not accepted an offer that low on this. I was just like desperate. I was like so desperate for sales. Next up was 2 Eubank uniframes. These were we have sold one of these in the past. This was some kind of vintage adjustable picture frame system. I don't understand how it worked, but
I don't either.
They were popular. We had 3 of them and all 3 of them sold. We had one in a previous what sold a couple of weeks ago, and then these 2 sold to the same buyer. These were found in a cabinet in our custom picture frame shop, and we found them. They were old stock.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to sell them, so pulled them out, and they both sold to the same buyer for $29.74 each. Next up was a lot of 3 men's khaki dress pants. They were various brands, but they were all the same size. These were gifted to us to sell, so we had no cost, and they sold for $29.99. Next up was a 1995 Sportflix Hammer Team Cal Ripken Jr. card. This was Kevin's, and it sold for $2.29.
You know, Hammer Team, that means.
Is that what I said? Hammer Team or Hammer Time?
Hammer Team means they're good hitters.
Oh my gosh, are we going to go through this every time? Next up was a Zara Basic Women's medium black and ivory embroidered straight pencil skirt. We got this at the thrift store for $4.59, and it sold on Poshmark for $17 even, plus shipping. Next up was a lot of 5 Murano-style hand-blown glass fruit and vegetables, and it came with a little basket. We got this at an estate sale for just $2.50, and they sold for $30 even. They did take a long time to sell.
That was a low offer.
Yeah.
That was a low price to sell them for, but they'd been sitting there for so long.
They weren't.
And I wanted them gone.
Yeah, I did too. I was surprised they took so long to sell. I think
they were really nice.
I almost wonder if having them with the basket devalued them because it might have cheapened the look a little bit.
Yeah, because they were really nice.
They were very nice.
Fruit. Whatever.
I don't know.
They're gone now. I
was surprised that they sold for as little as they did and that they took as long as they did to sell, honestly. Next up was a vintage 90s Hard Rock Cafe London single stitch vintage t-shirt. This we got at a garage sale for $5 and it sold for $14 even on Poshmark. Next up was a vintage lot of 7 souvenir keychains. It included keychains from various different locations, a Princess Diana keychain. These were gifted to us to sell. We had no cost and they sold for $10 even. And next up, I would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel if you have not subscribed already. It is the #1 thing that you can do to support us. We would really, really appreciate it. While you're down there hitting that subscribe button, please also hit that thumbs up button right next to it. It would also be really appreciated by us. And now we're going to talk about how we got our Amazon seller suspension. So let's dive into the saga. So a long time ago, when we had first gotten our tax ID and I was setting up a lot of stuff on Amazon, I had set up an Amazon seller account on Amazon with our tax ID and with the Nina's Jewels name. This was kind of when we had first created the Nina's Jewels business. And then I kind of never did anything with it. Honestly, I kind of forgot that I actually set up the seller account.
She forgot about it.
I did. It's like we never did anything with it, and I forgot that I did it. And so years later, probably 2 or 3 years later, we were like, we should really be diversified. We should really sell on Amazon. And I was like, I've just, I know it's really hard to figure out. Maybe this is a project that you should take on. And so he went on there and he worked really hard to figure out how to do everything, set it up, got everything going, set it up with the Nina's Jewels name, with the tax ID, and
listed a couple things. We never sold anything, but I listed a couple things as an experiment.
Yeah.
And
then we get an email saying your seller account, or I got an email to the original Nina's Jewels account saying your seller account has been deactivated because you have 2 accounts set up with the same name and tax ID or something like that. And I was like, what? And then, then it all starts coming back to me. I was like, oh, maybe I did set that up. And so it explains you cannot have 2 accounts with the same name and seller ID. This is not okay. And we're like, oh, we can figure this out. We can just delete one of them and reactivate it, and we can get that going again. We can be diversified, right?
Yeah. So I go in to adjust it, or to try and cancel one, or to send them a message about it, or to do something. You can't send them a message, first off. You just have to apply for reinstatement. And they asks you a question. And it says, is this other account yours? Yes or no? Well, yes, I have to say yes because it is my account. And what was the second part of it? Is it yours? And
who does it, how to...
Is it yours, or have you sold it to somebody?
Yeah.
Is it an old employee or whatever? And what it says is, you can say yes or no, it doesn't matter, but you have to, it says, before you can do anything on this account, you have to go to the other account and get that account reinstated. But I'm trying to get rid of one of the accounts, but it says I have to go get the other one reinstated. And you go to the other account, same thing. It's this. There's no way out of the loop. There's no way out of the loop. I'm sure maybe somebody's figured out how to do it, but the thing I was reading, I tried to send him a message to explain that. I explained the situation. I was like, oh, this will make perfect sense. And it wouldn't even take it. Yeah. First off,
we got a message back saying you've sent this to the wrong email address.
Yeah.
Before you send us any messages, you have to create a case by reactivating your account or something. And we're like, we can't do that.
It won't take the documentation that I give them or any message I give them. It wants a notarized document.
Affidavit. It wants
a notarized affidavit to be able to get that fixed. And you can't call. There's nobody you can talk to on the phone.
No.
Which would make it so much easier. I could explain it. It'd be like, oh, stupid story. And then.
Yeah.
But no. So it's just not worth it at this point.
No.
I don't care to sell on Amazon at this point because the amount of effort it would take just to get reinstated to maybe sell something, no. Yeah. I'm not going to do it.
So we are officially suspended on Amazon 2 times over. Yeah. We've been suspended, and it's through complete...
It was our own
fault.
It was our own fault.
Our own doing.
It should be...
But there's no way to fix just a silly mistake.
It's a death loop.
Yeah.
It's actually a death loop.
It is ridiculous that there is no way to speak to a human or,
Or
even chat or present a case
other than with a notarized document.
Exactly. It would be nice to have some additional diversification.
Yeah.
So,
especially for books. I would love to sell. That's why I started the account to begin with, was solely because I was going to put books, maybe VHS, that kind of stuff, media.
Yeah. So if you know of something that we don't,
if you have a secret method out of this, please
get in
share.
touch with someone and get our account, one of our accounts deleted and one of our accounts reinstated, let us know, because we could not figure it out.
No.
We worked on it for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up on the list was a White House Black Market women's lace-lined mini dress. This was gifted to us to sell. We had no cost, and it sold for $15 even. Next up was 6 International Silver Rogers Majestic, that was the pattern, silver plate Art Deco dinner knives. These we got out of a thrift store, like a flatware bag. I just don't know why the cost is $0. Why does the cost say $0?
I think it's because I had to add this on the spreadsheet because you'd already split all the cost out on things, and you forgot to add this one.
Yeah, I'd forgotten to add it.
So the cost would have at best been like 30 cents or something.
I just forgot
because it was a big bag of flatware for like $3, $3.50, something like that.
I just forgot to add it when I listed it. So this sold for $32.99. That was a good sale. Yeah. Next up was a horrible sale. This should have been taken out for the garage sale, but you learn. This was and honestly, I don't know why this never sold. This was
I really don't.
So
it was
cute.
An awesome
This was
plush.
This big, huge, like 15-inch jumbo squishable. It was called a brown owl. That's what it actually said on the tag, but it was actually green, which is why it says green brown owl on there. Which is weird. It's a weird thing to say, but that's exactly why. This was a huge plush. It was a retired item, and we got this out of the Goodwill bins for $2.12. I accepted an incredibly low offer on Poshmark because I was like, we have got to get rid of this giant thing that is taking up so much space in our inventory. So I accepted a low offer of $6, and we ended up losing money on this sale. But we did get rid of that huge giant thing finally. So, and it went to somebody who liked it. We got a 5-star rating on it. So at least there's that. Okay, next up was a pair of women's Levi's. These were curvy bootcut dark wash jeans. We got these out of a storage unit for just 28 cents, and they sold for $19.99. Next up was a 2008 Mattel Hot Wheels 3-lane super speedway. These were 2 of the straight switching tracks only. We got a bunch of track pieces from a garage sale.
Huge box.
Yeah, huge box of different Hot Wheels.
For like $5.
Parts and pieces, and we parted all of them out.
And we've sold almost everything.
Yeah, we have. And parting them out was the way to go on this. Yeah. So we paid 25 cents for these when we broke down our cost, and these sold for $47.99.
I will say always be on the lookout for like the switching tracks.
Yeah.
And then those little ones where with the little spinning wheel that launches the cars, the launchers, those are very popular.
Next up was a Napoleon Fireplaces and Grills main burner electrode. This was a new and packaged item that we got at the thrift store for 51 cents. It was like a replacement part for a grill, and it sold for $16.14. Next up was a Magic the Gathering Homelands, and I'm going to turn this over to you.
I don't know. Onzaren is how I'd probably say it.
Me too. That's how I would say it.
Onzaren ruins.
This was Kevin's card, and it sold for $3.99. Next up was a 1995 Collector's Choice Silver Signature card of the player Chuck Carr. That was also Kevin's, and it sold for $4.29.
Yeah, so many cards.
So many cards. Yeah, if we sold all of our cards, we would.
If we could make $2,
lots of money.
$1 on every card I have,
know.
Oh my goodness, we'd be rich.
We'd be so rich. Next up was an OEM factory GE remote control. We got this at a garage sale for 50 cents, and it sold for $10.99. Next up was a pair of Terran Rose Traveler Trudy Black Patent Woven Leather Lace-Up shoes. These are shoes that are high-end. I think they're sold at places like Neiman's. but they do not have very good resale. So you'll see that they say $299 in the title. That's how much they retail for.
What?
I know. We got those at the Goodwill bins for $1.33, and they only sold for $20. I did take a low offer on them because we've had them for so long, and finally somebody came along.
Out.
Yeah, and once, like, I had never gotten an offer on them. Nobody had ever, I don't even think I had ever sent an offer, so people weren't even looking at them. Yeah. So once somebody expressed an interest on that item, I was like, yeah, you can have them for $20. Please take them. Next up was a Boyd's Bear. Hey, girlfriend, you be stylin'. Brand new with tags, plush bear. We found this in the Goodwill bins for $1.18, and it sold for $15.18. Next up was a vintage 7.5-inch solid brass shark figurine. We got that at a garage sale for $3. It sold immediately for $20 even. It was really cool, and it polished up really nicely. Next up was a Magic the Gathering revised demonic tutor card.
Revised.
This was Kevin's, and it sold for $43.99. Now, don't be spitting on $43.99.
I'm not, but if it was an unlimited, which is all the other ones that I've had and sold, it would be worth twice that.
Yeah, but still.
But no, I'm surprised that's worth $43.99.
Yeah, look at him.
It was fake spit.
Next up was a Victoria's Secret women's mint green spell out logo bralette. We got this at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for $12. Next up was a Vineyard Vines women's red, white, plaid, strapless, fit and flare, preppy style dress. We got this at a garage sale for $2, and it sold for $42.99. Next up was a vintage 1987 International Games Deluxe Uno game. It was new and sealed from 1987. We got this at a church rummage sale for $3.25, and it sold for $28 even.
When are they going to have more church rummage sales?
I know, right?
We never know.
I got the itch.
We drive by a certain church that had this one that has rummage sales occasionally. They always have such good rummage sales. And I just drive by every day, and every day I look in the parking lot just to make sure they're not having another one, because we don't go to that church.
I'm not a bumper sticker type person, or, a person that advertises things on my car, but if I were to be a person like that, I would have the I brake for rummage sales bumper sticker.
It's my favorite thing. It's like a garage sale, but better, because everybody brings their garage sale stuff to the same place, and it's a church, so they're normally selling it at reasonable prices just to get rid of it. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah, it is.
I love it.
Next up, or last up actually, was a surprise to me that this had any value, because I was like, oh, this is, just going to be one of those kind of heart monitor things that nobody really wants. But I looked it up, and I was surprised it had any value at all. So
she almost had a heart attack.
I put it on, and it was like, girl, you need to go to the hospital. This was a Polar FT4 pink fitness heart rate monitor, watch, and sensor. It had like this thing that you put around your chest, and it would
strap?
Yeah, what do you call that? The heart monitor part.
Chest strap.
Well, sometimes you can monitor your heart with just the wrist thing, but it had like the whole contraption.
I think it's just a chest strap, but maybe it has a harness. Maybe,
a harness or something.
Maybe it has a specific
it had
name.
the whole get up. And anyway,
heart holder? I don't know.
I don't think it was called a heart holder. But anyway, it had the whole thing. It all worked. We actually had to order a new battery for it, but it worked. This was gifted to us to sell. We had the original box and everything, and it sold for $39.98. So that was a good sale. So if you ever find one of those and it has the whole get up and everything and it works, definitely worth listing. So that wraps up all of our sales for this particular week. Sales weren't terrible, but I had to accept a lot of low offers, I felt like, so that
we're just trying to keep it moving, just keep it from the pipes from getting clogged.
Yeah. We're just in the summer slowdown. That's just all it is.
Well, and we had a couple of returns, but once you get 2 returns, if you have 2 open returns, everything just stops.
It's
it just
true.
Stops.
Especially if they are not. Especially if they say that you misrepresented the item was not as described or something like that.
But even not. If there's more than 1 return at a time, the store almost grinds to a halt.
Yeah. Something to do with the algorithm.
I would say, oh, this is just a fluke, or, oh, I'm not using it. But I've tested this theory, and every time there's 2 returns open, the store dives.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we get the items back and give them their money back, the store the next day starts ramping back up.
Yeah, it is true.
Every single time.
It doesn't make any sense because eBay wants you to accept returns, and you do. And then when you get returns and have open returns, you get punitive damage for that.
But I'm confident in this theory. It's happened so many times that it's just there's no other way around it.
Yeah.
It's just true. It's just true.
It's true.
I speak facts.
Somebody's yelling outside. Did you hear that?
Somebody's agreeing with me out there.
They're out there and they're like,
yeah.
All right.
Like, yeah.
Is that, do it again? That's like Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
what I'm talking about.
That's my creed. My creed, yeah.
All right, so let's go over all of the totals for the week. So our total number of sales was 35.
Still low.
Our average
should be around 50.
It should be around 50. Yeah, it's very low. Our average sale price was $23.26. That's okay. Our total sales were $814.17. And our net profit was $451.27.
The profit's decent, but you know that one Muppet sale, it messed all these numbers up. Like it raised the average sale price up, the total sales, the net profit. Without that sale in there, it would have been a pretty bleak week.
It would have been,
bleak week.
Yeah, that sale saved us.
It really did.
So that wraps up our sales for the week of June 9th through 15th. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit it already. We really appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button and stick around for the next video that you're going to see on the screen. It's going to pop up. YouTube thinks you might like it, and we do too. All right, thanks so much for joining, and we will catch you on the flip side.